this is Cinema.
And this is Johannes.
And you're watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And we just played Minos Dawn of the Bronze Age.
And these are our first impressions after one play of the game with 2 players.
Minos Dawn of the Bronze Age, one of our most anticipated games for Spiel, that is going to be this week. Very, very soon. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Are we going to be there?
Yeah.
Yes. Can they meet us?
Yes.
If they are there, if they're not there, they cannot meet us.
No.
But if they are at Spiel, where can people meet us?
We will be at the Chili Fox Aporta Align booth.
Yes.
From 14 to 18 on Friday.
Yes.
And on 10 to 14 on Saturday.
Yes.
We'll also be at the Meet and Play in whole Europe, Europa. I forget when.
16 to 17/18 on
Saturday.
With all that said, and please give us a secret sign and say hi. It would be amazing to meet you. But now, let's talk about Minos, which is from Board and Dice, a game all about drafting dice, doing actions, playing cards, and trying to get victory points.
Cool.
All over 4 rounds, and the game works like this. You are going to draft some dice. Those dice you're going to place on one of these 5 actions. Depending on the number of players, there's going to be different number of spaces to place. When you place it, you're going to place it on the leftmost action if there's a first die there. If there is another die there, depending on if it's a higher or lower number, you're going to place it to the left. If it's a lower, to the right. If it's the same or higher number. And after everybody has drafted 4 dice, you're going to activate those dice. And when it's your turn to activate the die, you have to take the highest number. So I am the purple player. I have these purple bases. On my turn now, I don't have a choice. I have to activate this 5 to be able to do that action. So you're planning those actions. So you want to do the low numbers because you want to be able to have the best action, but you also want to do higher numbers because it's the order of the things you do. And also if you have higher numbers, if you have high enough numbers and make groups up to 9, you will also be able to move extra steps on the tracks to be able to get different bonuses and income. You're going to do actions. The actions are pretty straightforward and there's only 4 of them. You're going to draw more cards. Take cards into your hand. You're going to play cards from your hand. You're going to build buildings from your player board, which is already empty because all the buildings are out here, and onto the board. There's the way to get discounts, and all different buildings do different things. You will also place soldiers or warriors out on the map and move them around to get dominance, to be able to fight these sea people, and to be able to build different buildings depending on what the building is. And those are basically the actions you're going to do. You have a joker action as well, where you can choose one of the other actions and be able to have different action points for that. There's some goals, there's tracks, there are other tracks over here which are trade routes, and then we have the map where you're going to have some area majority and all of that. Another thing you're going to do is that you're going to take the cards that you have played, and during the game, you're going to tuck them under your player board. It's going to give you permanent bonuses for when you do specific actions or when you take specific dice. And that is basically what you are doing in the game. After 2 rounds, there's going to be a scoring. After 4 rounds, there's going to be 1 more scoring and a final scoring. And after all that, the 4 rounds, which doesn't sound too much, does it now? It's going to be the player who has the most points who is the winner.
I'm gonna start by saying that my first impression of this 2-player game that we played is very good.
Yeah.
I like the game at 2 players, but I feel like there's some interaction missing with 2 players, especially in the drafting of the dice, which is a mechanism that seems familiar from Stan's other game, Rurik Dawn of Kiev.
Yeah, in Rurik Dawn of Kiev you have this auction board, so it's similar but not the same. You have an auction board of your workers, you're going to unlock more workers, but they have numbers. So the big difference here is, of course, there's dice that's going to be rolled and you're going to draft them. And also there's like another layer of a reason for why you want the higher number and the lower number. Because if one player, for example, Sunniva, always manages to move all on these tracks, and one player, for example, me, has a harder time doing that because I also want to do my actions in the order and I can't plan that. It's that balance of, and you add it to which action do you want to do? Do you want to do the best version or not? Do you want to do it earlier in the round or later in the round? And how important is it for you to get that 1 extra step to have another way to do it? All of that makes that drafting very interesting. Another thing I really love about that is that after you drafted them, you kind of just do the actions.
Oh yeah, it feels in that regards a little lighter than Rurik, or less like tight or punishing, and I don't think that's a negative for this game. And there is still a lot of meaty decisions in this game and different paths to go for.
And just to be clear, like this is not Rurik. It's a very different game.
Yes.
It's basically just like this part of the game reminds me of it, so it's hard to not like speak about it at all.
Yes.
But it's not like, oh, should I get this or Rurik? They're two completely different games. Just like have the DNA of the designer who has designed the game. I agree with you. I feel like it was a lighter experience than I was expecting. I was thinking it would be, from my like explanation of it, it seemed more complicated. But as you said, it's not a negative. It's just like should make it be shorter and lighter. Is it a short game? We played it once, just to remember that. But how long was that play?
It was 2.5 hours.
Yes.
I think that's a long game with 2 players. I think we absolutely can get that playtime down, but that initial length of the game makes me at least think that 3 players is going to be the best player count, maybe also the maximum because of the time it would take with 4 players, but based on the interaction that I missed with the 2-player game, I would prefer this at 3 players, I think.
Because the tension here was there with 2. I'm going to say that.
Absolutely.
It was there, but it's going to be more with 3. 4 might make it like if you enjoy the fact, oh, I'm going to do this and hope that it doesn't change. But you know, of course, if you're going with a high die in the beginning, you know you're going to get bumped probably to the end. So it's not like, oh no, that I did not see coming at all. We only played it once, but as an anecdote, I spoke to David from Man vs. Meeple, and they also said in their review as well that the 2-player games they played was over 2 hours, and the 3-player game, I think it was 3, was over 4 hours.
That's a long game.
But that was the first game.
Okay.
So I think you could get this to maybe like be an hour per player, which makes it's weird because you're doing like 4 actions. In many games that would be very quick, and sometimes the actions are quick, but a couple of things, because there's so many things you want to get done. And one of the reasons is because you will upgrade your actions.
Yeah, and I like that mechanism a lot, because when you pay for a card and you get this instant bonus, but later you can use, like, for example, this action symbol right here to tuck the card under your player board, and this means that every time I do the build action, I get 2 points, for example.
Yes, you don't have to do it floating in the air, it will be on the table, which makes it easier to actually do it. This is kind of the meat of the game. Trying to play those games, trying to upgrade your actions in the beginning so that you will shape your game, shape your strategy. And I feel like when we played now, we did 2 completely different things.
Yes.
Trying to win by doing completely. You did win, but I was thinking you were winning by a lot, and you only won by like 6 points.
Yes.
Because you were like, this is how it looked at the end of the game. I think I had like 50 points, and you had over 90. And I took almost 40 of them back at the end, which was really, really cool. The map has the interaction, but it's not a combat interaction.
Yes.
It's not like a direct conflict. Again, it reminds a bit of Rurik, because you also have these things you can attack, you have all of that, but it's not a direct conflict in the same way, or direct conflict at all, because all of this is about placement, trying to place yourself in ways so you can build the buildings, but also to score points, like so placement at the end of each round, or round 2 and 4, depending on how far you've gotten on the blue track, which is going to tell you how many points you get for that. So it's also an interesting part of the puzzle, and I feel like every single thing here works well together, with a core system of the drafting working well as well. And that's almost some final thoughts. Who do you think is going to like this game? Is there anyone who will like it?
Yes, like if you like this mechanism from Rurik, or you think this sounds like a cool mechanism,
different.
I really enjoy this, but it has the same DNA as in Rurik, which was my favorite mechanism from Rurik. If you didn't like the direct conflict or player interaction in the map part of Rurik, I think you will like this more. But I think you need to be okay with the game being a longer game for you to enjoy this.
Especially like when you're doing a learning game, just know that your first game or first few games to the same group is going to be long. One thing I will say, like, this is a combo game. This is another game where you're trying to to build up the cards, build up the actions. I really enjoy building up my strategy and trying to, okay, because if I play this card and get that turn, I can now start doing this action better. So I'm trying to get in on the action to do these things and shaping my strategy and shaping the way I play. Even though we're going to do many of the same things each time, I'm seeing that I can do different strategies. We're going to do some short final thoughts.
Yeah.
Like final first thoughts.
Final first impressions.
And we're probably not going to do like a full review of this later, but what we hope to do then is probably add it on a keeper call after we played it with more people.
Yeah.
So some final first impression thoughts. Before that, subscribe.
Yes.
You can do it. Click the button.
Yay.
And you get videos.
Yes.
That's it.
That's magical.
Yes.
I enjoyed this very much. I think I enjoyed this. Like this part I knew was solid from before. I enjoyed this part. Trying to utilize, like trying to get the right combination of colors so I can boost myself up on these tracks. Really enjoyed playing these cards, and also the interaction was cool, and building the buildings was also cool. I liked everything except for the length. I thought it was a little too long. I want that third player for more interaction, but I'm a little concerned for the time it takes to play.
Yeah, that's my main negative. I'm going to say one extreme positive is I think this is the best play rates Board and Dice has done. I think, like, especially when you're playing 2 players, you can have 4 of them and you get every single thing you would need. And again, do as we do. Probably we didn't make this up, but we like doing this, that if you play with more people, you just place them between the players so that everyone has all the information at all times. 4 player rates, that gives you basically everything you need. I really like that. As you said, the dice drafting is super cool. I just had a pleasant time playing it. The length is the only thing. And I hope that when we play it again with a third player, that we will spend less time because we don't have all that overload to get into because we have played it before. Other than that, really enjoyable game. I'm excited to play it again. Hope you got some feelings from this video, if this might be a game for you or not. I'm going to talk more about it later. That's going to be the end.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.